Hello, friends, and welcome to The Artificial Brain, the podcast that explores the frontiers of artificial intelligence, one fascinating idea at a time. I'm your host, Shining. From groundbreaking models to the big questions about our future, we're here to make sense of it all, clearly, honestly, and without the hype. Ready to expand your mind? Let's dive in. What is good, everybody? Welcome back to The Artificial Brain. I am your host, Shining, and today we are diving deep into a topic that is literally getting chaotic out here in the wild. We are talking about the health AI arms race. And when I say arms race, I am not playing. We are talking about a full-on showdown between insurance giants, tech behemoths, and hospital systems. They are all fighting for a piece of that $4 trillion healthcare pie, and honestly, it is giving Battle Royale energy. But here is the thing. This is not just about who has the flashiest chatbot anymore. We have moved past simple medical Q&A, like asking Google what to do when you have a sniffle. The game has changed. We are entering the era of longitudinal patient representation. And yes, that sounds like a vocab test you did not study for, but do not worry, I am going to break it down because this is the future of your medical records, and it is low-key mind-blowing. First, let's talk about why everyone is beefing right now. According to an article titled "The AI Arms Race Over Your Medical Bill" from Taco, there is literally a war happening between medical providers and insurers. They are trying to figure out how to divide the $4 trillion Americans spend on healthcare every year. That is trillion with a T. That is more money than I can even visualize. And guess what weapon they are using? Artificial intelligence. But it is not just about saving money. It is about survival. On one side, you have providers like hospitals trying to use AI to streamline everything. On the other side, you have insurers using algorithms to approve or deny claims. And let me tell you, things are getting messy. According to a report titled "The AI Arms Race Between Insurers," Providers has begun on healthcare-brew.com. Major players like United Health Group, Cigna, and Humana are all facing lawsuits. And why? Because patients are alleging that AI programs led to denied care.
Bruh.
That is right. We are not talking about a robot saying no to a candy bar. We are talking about AI denying people necessary medical procedures. That is actually terrifying. Imagine going to the doctor, needing surgery, and an algorithm is like, nah, you are good, just walk it off. It is absurd, but this is the reality of the arms race. Everyone is rushing to adopt AI to cut costs and increase efficiency, as noted in an article from the AI Journal titled "The AI Arms Race in Healthcare Innovation Without Compromise." They want to improve patient outcomes, but they also want that efficiency. And sometimes those two things crash into each other like a buggy code merge. But before we get too deep into the doom and gloom of lawsuits and denied claims, let's pivot to the tech, because that is why you are here. You want to know what is actually under the hood. For a long time, medical AI was kind of mid. It was mostly just simple models. You ask a question, it gives a generic answer based on training data. It is like a parrot that read a textbook. It knows facts, but it does not know you. But the shift we are seeing now, and this is the fire part, is toward longitudinal patient representation. Let me break that down. Longitudinal basically means long-term. It is looking at data over time. Right now, your medical record is a mess. You have a PDF here, a JPEG of an X-ray there, some scribbles from a doctor that look like ancient hieroglyphics, and a spreadsheet of lab results. It is a disaster. A longitudinal model looks at your entire history. It sees that you had the flu in 2020, a broken leg in 2022, and your cholesterol has been creeping up for 3 years. It connects the dots. According to researchers at Stanford in a paper titled "Advancing Responsible Healthcare AI with Longitudinal EHR Datasets," Current medical datasets often fail to reflect the full scope of past and future health information. This is what they call the missing context problem. The AI does not have the context of your life story, it just sees a snapshot. But these new longitudinal models are trying to fix that by giving the AI a memory of your entire health journey.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy.
This brings me to a super important concept you need to lock into your brain. Multimodal RAG. That stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation. And it is a mouthful, I know. Let me explain it like this. Imagine you have a friend who is a genius but also lies constantly. That is a standard large language model. It is smart, but it hallucinates. It makes stuff up. Now give that friend a textbook and tell them they are not allowed to say anything unless they read it in the book first. That is RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. It retrieves the facts first, then it generates the answer. In healthcare, this is non-negotiable. You cannot have an AI hallucinating a bone in your leg that does not exist.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
And according to The Atlantic, in an article titled, "The Trump Administration Will Automate Health Inequities," one healthcare AI model actually did hallucinate a non-existent body part. That is wild. That is the kind of energy we do not need. This is where multimodal comes in. Multi means many, modal means types of data. So multimodal RAG means the AI can look at text notes, structured data like fire records, which are basically standardized digital health records, and images like DICOM files, which are those high-resolution X-rays and MRIs. It takes all of that, retrieves the specific relevant info, and gives you an answer without making things up. According to a comprehensive review on MDPI titled Retrieval Augmented Generation RAG in Healthcare, a comprehensive review, RAG supports clinical summarization by integrating longitudinal patient data. It helps the system identify pertinent history like medications or lab trends. It is basically a super smart librarian that has read your entire life story and can instantly find the exact page where your diagnosis is written. And this is not just theoretical. There is some serious research going down. A paper on argiciv.com titled LVLM-Aware Multimodal Retrieval for RAG-Based Medical Diagnosis with General Per explains that they are training retrievers to find knowledge from both medical literature and hospital records. They are trying to make sure that when the AI makes a prediction, it is actually looking at the right pictures and reports. If the retrieval mechanism is bad, the model gets misled. It is like trying to solve a puzzle with pieces from the wrong box. Now, here is a tangent that I think is fascinating. We often think of AI in healthcare as just a chatbot on a website. But the real arms race is happening in the cloud infrastructure. We have the big dogs, Google, Amazon, Microsoft. They are in a $1 trillion arms race to build the data centers that power this stuff. According to The Guardian, in an article titled, "The $1 trillion AI Arms Race is Here," these giants are pouring billions into AI. But why does that matter to your health record? Because to process longitudinal multimodal data, you need insane computing power. You are not just processing text, you are processing high-resolution 3D scans. You are running complex reasoning over years of data. Google, for instance, has unveiled new weapons in this race. Business Insider reported in an article titled, "Google just unveiled a new weapon against Microsoft and Amazon in the AI arms race that Google is making its own AI chips." This is wild because it creates competition with partners like NVIDIA. They are doing this to save money because buying AI chips is notoriously expensive. They are building the engine so that companies like Anthropic can run things like Claude for healthcare. You have probably heard of Claude, right? It is that AI made by Anthropic. They recently launched Claude for healthcare and they acquired a company called Torched.
And his name is John C.
This acquisition of Torch signals a massive shift. Torch was big in this space, and snapping them up means Anthropic is serious about moving beyond just medical Q&A to full-on longitudinal representation. They want to build the system that actually knows you, not just a system that can define a disease. This is the key difference between the old guard and the new wave. The old wave was a dictionary. The new wave is a detective. But we cannot talk about the arms race without addressing the dark side, because where there is tech, there are hackers. There is always a villain in the story. According to a blog post on Pawbox titled The AI Arms Race in Healthcare Cybersecurity, email-based attacks are becoming super sophisticated. Traditional security measures are struggling to keep up. Medical institutions are being forced to rethink their entire strategy. It is an escalation. Hackers are using AI to write perfect phishing emails. No more broken English or weird grammar. The AI can write an email that sounds exactly like your boss or your doctor asking for sensitive info. This creates a need for AI-powered defenses. We have essentially entered an AI duel. The attacker uses AI to penetrate, the defender uses AI to block. As reported by HIT Consultant in an article titled The AI Dilemma, a new arms race in healthcare cybersecurity, while hospitals rush to harness AI for diagnostics and admin tasks, cybercriminals are doing the same to exploit weaknesses. It is a classic shield versus sword situation. And guess who gets caught in the middle? Us, the patients. Imagine a scenario where a hacker uses AI to mimic a doctor's voice and authorization to gain access to a hospital's longitudinal database. That is a nightmare scenario. This is why cybersecurity is becoming a huge part of the health AI conversation. You cannot have a smart hospital if the front door is unlocked. But there is another layer to this arms race that is a bit more subtle, but arguably more important. It is about bias and equity. Going back to that article from The Atlantic, the Trump administration will automate health inequities, they discuss how AI models might actually make things worse. There is a fear that if the data used to train these AI models is biased, the AI will automate those biases. It will lock in inequities. For example, if certain populations were historically underrepresented in clinical trials, the AI might not predict their reactions to drugs as accurately. That is a huge problem. We are building these massive brains, but if we feed them garbage data, they are going to spit out garbage decisions.
Emotional damage.
This is why the research on longitudinal datasets is so crucial. The Stanford paper I mentioned earlier emphasizes responsible AI. They know that if we are going to let AI look at your entire life history, we better make sure it understands the context of your life, not just the numbers. So, where does this leave us? We have insurers fighting providers, providers fighting hackers, and tech giants fighting each other for cloud dominance. It is the perfect storm. But let me try to paint a picture of what the winning side looks like for us, the patients. Ideally, in 5 years, you walk into a doctor's office. You do not have to fill out a clipboard with 50 questions you have answered 100 times. The doctor pulls up your longitudinal multimodal record. The AI has already summarized your last 10 years of visits. It highlights that you had a weird reaction to a medication 3 years ago that you forgot about. It shows that your latest blood work matches a trend from 4 years ago that the previous doctor missed because the data was in a different system. It pulls up an X-ray from a hospital in another state and compares it to the one you just took, noting a tiny change. The AI acts like a super assistant. It does not replace the doctor. It just arms them with information. It is RAG in action. It retrieves the relevant info, augments the doctor's brain, and helps them make the call. That is the dream. But the arms race? The arms race is about who gets to build that system first, who gets to own the platform that holds all that data. Will it be Google with their data centers? Will it be Microsoft with their partnership with OpenAI? Will it be Epic or Cerner, the traditional electronic health record companies trying to pivot? Or will a new player like Anthropic with Claude sneak in and take the crown?
Meow.
It is anyone's game right now, and that is what makes it so exciting to watch. But here is my takeaway, fam. Be aware. Pay attention to who has your data, because right now everyone is scrambling to get it. Let's take a second to really zoom in on this multimodal RAG concept one more time, because I think this is the technical breakthrough that is going to change everything. Think about how a doctor works. They do not just look at a number. They look at the patient. They see how you walk, how you talk. They look at your chart. They look at your MRI. They combine all those modalities. Most AI models before could only do one thing. They could read the text or they could look at the image. They could not do both at the same time effectively. But this new research on LVLM-aware multimodal retrieval is trying to bridge that gap. LVLM stands for Large Vision Language Model. It means the model can see and read at the same time. Imagine an AI that can look at an X-ray of your lungs, read the radiologist's notes from last year, and then check your current lab results for inflammation markers. It combines the image, the text, and the structured data that is multimodal. And the RAG part, that ensures it is not just guessing. It is retrieving the specific scan from 2021 to compare side by side. This is what moves AI from a cool toy to a medical tool. It reduces the hallucinations, it increases the accuracy, it makes the arms race about quality, not just speed. According to that MDPI paper, poorly optimized retrieval mechanisms can mislead models. So the race is on to build the best retriever, the best librarian, who can find the needle in the haystack of your medical history fastest. That is the billion-dollar question. Now, I want to circle back to the legal drama for a hot second because it is actually really important for understanding the risks. When United Health and Cigna get sued because their AI denied care, that sets a precedent. It tells the industry that you cannot just slap AI powered on a denial letter and hope nobody notices. If the AI denies a claim, there needs to be a reason, a human reason, or at least a reason that a human can understand and verify. This is where explainable AI comes in. It is not enough for the AI to say no. It has to say no, and here is the document, here is the guideline, and here is the data point I used to make that decision. That is wrong again. If the AI retrieves the specific policy clause that justifies the denial, that is better than it just guessing. It is still annoying if you get denied, but at least you know exactly why. The arms race is pushing these companies to be more accurate, not just for patient safety, but to avoid lawsuits. The financial risk of bad AI is becoming too high. So in a weird way, the lawsuits are accelerating the good tech. Companies are realizing that if they want to use AI to cut costs, they better make sure the AI is flawless, or it is going to cost them billions in court. That is the irony of it all. The capitalist drive to save money might actually lead to better, safer AI, because the cost of failure is now too high. But we have to stay vigilant. We cannot let them rush it. As the Atlantic article warned, automating inequities is a real risk. If they train these models on biased data, the lawsuits will never end. Let's talk about the cloud war one last time because this is the infrastructure battle. To run these massive multimodal longitudinal models, you need compute, lots of it. Google is making their own chips, Amazon is playing catch-up, Microsoft is all in with OpenAI. According to Aragon Research in their analysis of the AI data center arms race, these companies are escalating investments in data centers. They are building the physical plants that will house the brains of future healthcare. This matters because whoever owns the infrastructure controls the rate of innovation. If Google has the best chips, their AI might be faster. If Amazon has the most data centers, their AI might be cheaper to run. It is like building the railways in the 1800s. Whoever laid the tracks won the West. Now whoever lays the fiber and installs the GPUs wins healthcare. And with Anthropic launching Claude for healthcare and acquiring Torch, they are signaling that they want to be the ones running on top of that infrastructure. They want to be the software layer that everyone uses. It is a three-dimensional chess game. Hardware layer versus software layer versus application layer. And for us, we just want our doctor to know our name and our history without making us wait 6 weeks for an appointment. Is that too much to ask? No cap. Alright, let's wrap this up with some key takeaways because this was a lot of info to process. First, the health AI arms race is real. It is happening now between insurers, providers, and tech giants. It is about money, efficiency, and survival. Second, the tech is evolving from simple chatbots to longitudinal patient representation. This means AI will soon know your entire health history, not just your current complaint. Third, multimodal RAG is the key technology to watch. It combines text, images, and data to provide accurate answers without hallucinating. It is the librarian we need to keep the AI honest. Fourth, cybersecurity is a major front in this war. As AI gets smarter for doctors, it gets smarter for hackers too. We need AI defenses to match AI attacks. And finally, we must watch out for bias and equity. The AI is only as good as the data it learns from. We cannot let automation lock in the health disparities that already exist. The future of healthcare is intelligent, it is connected, and it is coming fast. Whether that future is a utopia of personalized care or a dystopia of automated denials depends on how this arms race plays out. But I am rooting for the good guys. The researchers building responsible datasets, the engineers building RAG systems that reduce errors, the doctors who are willing to embrace the tech while keeping the human touch.
Phone face down, but I still feel it buzz.
That is it for this episode of The Artificial Brain. I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the wild world of health AI. It is a crazy time to be alive, but remember, a smarter brain is a healthier brain. Stay curious, stay healthy, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace!